This video will analyse the decisions made when planning the 3 English lessons for a multi-age Prep to 2 class. The following series of lessons are designed for a Prep Year 3 classroom with no Year 3s at Sandy Plains State School. This classroom consists of 23 students, one of which has an intellectual impairment, another needing extension, and 2 students who are cousins. The given English GTMJs for Prep Year 1 and Year 2 were analysed against the 3 achievement standards to find common content descriptors that would link across 3 year levels to successfully plan and implement a unit of work. The text structure and organisation descriptions within the language substrand directly related to the achievement standard and the GTMJ, while also showing clear similarities across the year levels. By the end of these 3 lessons, students should understand what a narrative is, the purpose of a narrative, as well as the basic structure of a narrative. Students should be able to order the sequence of events from a text and identify the problem and solution. Year 2 students should then be able to explain how images support the text, and all students should know how to make connections to personal experiences when discussing texts. Students will learn this through a series of lessons and activities that will engage them as well as provide them with an Australian connection through the chosen texts. These lessons are the beginning 3 lessons of a 10-week unit that teaches students about the purpose of texts, different types of texts, writing structure, and language features. At the end of this unit, each grade will produce a written piece of work to demonstrate their learning over the term. There were multiple structural features considered when planning the 3 lessons. The lesson structure took on the balancing act approach within the multi-age classroom. The 3 lesson plans were planned using a multi-age lesson structure as it aims to cater for all 3 year levels at once. When learning in a multi-age classroom, students have an opportunity to work together, form positive relationships, and become more cooperative learners. The prep children are more likely to benefit from the positive models of the older students in Year 1 and 2, and allow those older students to feel more responsible and provide them with the opportunities to teach one another. Within the lesson plans, there are multiple opportunities for older students to provide guidance to the younger students. For example, within the 3rd lesson, students are sharing their work with the class, which allows all of the students to see where they are heading or even where they have progressed from. The multi-age structure means that there is a frequent variety around lessons, whether it is whole class, group, or independent learning. The rural context of the school means that students have strong connections with their community and the land. Therefore, the chosen texts to be analysed in the lessons are all Australian with key messages and themes that students can form a connection with. Within Possum Magic, students are able to engage purposefully within this text as they can see aspects of Australia that they are already familiar with, while also gaining new knowledge about their country. Due to the location, the support staff at Sandy Plains is not frequent, therefore students with disabilities do not always have the support they need. Student A within this class has an intellectual impairment, which means they are at below prep level. Adjustments need to be made during lessons to accommodate for this. Within Lesson 3, there is additional support given to Student A, however, this is not always guaranteed. Student A spends a lot of time learning with preps and participating in whole class activities. It has been ensured that not all of Student A's learning takes place with preps, as they still need exposure to Grade 1 curriculum areas and to socialise with their peers in an academic setting. Teacher aides are an asset within the classroom as they foster improved academic behaviour and social outcomes for students, as well as perform multiple roles in the classroom. Within the lessons, the teacher aide has been utilised in a way that will enhance student learning. The teacher aide spends the majority of their time with the preps to ensure consistency is kept. Younger students need to feel safe in their learning environment, therefore consistency is important to progress their learning. The teacher aide has developed a bond with the prep students and is aware of their learning strengths and weaknesses. The teacher ensures that the preps get as much whole class learning as they can, and this will also enhance their learning overall as they will be exposed to a variety of concepts. Within the lesson, a variety of pedagogical features were utilised. This included the gradual release of responsibility, mega model for differentiation, the 5 L's, and the 8 ways of learning. As this is a multi-age class, the gradual release of responsibility is constantly used throughout the learning. Students will peel off as the learning goes beyond their expected level. Each lesson begins with students all together on the carpet. The learning expectations are set and prior knowledge is established. The topic is introduced and the book is read. Then the preps are released to the teacher aide to cement their knowledge. Once the preps are in their area, the learning continues to deepen as the 1s and 2s develop further knowledge. The Year 1s are then released onto an independent activity, with the Year 2s taking another step in the learning. The gradual release can be seen for each year level, but it can also be seen within each learning sequence. For example, Lesson 2 goes through the I do, we do, you do when writing a retell. The teacher completes the first retell, the class completes the second together, and then they are released to complete the third individually. This gradual release allows students the time to process the learning as well as learn from their peers. Students who need more time to understand are able to stay for more teaching, whilst the other students are able to apply their knowledge to the activity. Due to the variety of year levels and ability levels, the gradual release of responsibility is a key pedagogical tool as it allows for each student to receive the appropriate level of instruction. Another pedagogical tool was the Maker model. This tool assisted in differentiating students within the classroom. This model encourages teachers to differentiate through content, process, product, and environment. This differentiation is based on the learner's readiness, interests, and learning profile. Within the lesson plans, the learning environment was adapted to suit the needs of certain students. For example, Student A participates with the preps during the majority of the learning. This allows Student A to have a chance to relearn certain aspects that are still complicated, as well as allows for extra assistance when needed. Another example of adapting the learning environment is ensuring during certain learning sequences that Student B and C are not sitting near each other. Despite being family members, both students do not always get along and therefore are often disruptive. A learning goal for both students is to work together in a friendly manner. The content is often altered for students such as Student D. This student needs extension and therefore often works with Year 2 students when working. It is important that this student still gains the learning from Year 1 so that they can be successful within the assessment. Other adjustments, such as process and product, have been adapted for Student A, such as working one-on-one with teachers and teacher aides and drawing pictures instead of writing sentences. These adjustments allow for the student to experience the learning at an appropriate level so that they can succeed. Students are expected to demonstrate the 5 L's whenever they are sitting in class. They need to have their legs crossed, hands in their laps, their lips closed, looking and listening. This behaviour expectation ensures that all students are listening and tracking the speaker and creates a calm classroom environment. Within a multi-age classroom, there are many opportunities for freedom and to express ideas and opinions. Therefore, a classroom that is calm and has students that are focused on the speakers is going to be more successful. It can also be seen that the 8 Aboriginal Ways of Learning framework was utilised in the lessons through the use of the yarning circle and story sharing. A key relationship within the classroom is the teacher-teacher-aide relationship. It is important to utilise the time of the teacher-aide effectively in a multi-age classroom and therefore ensure the teacher-aide understands the expectations of the classroom as well as the learning outcomes. The majority of teacher aides at Sandy Plains have been there for multiple years and therefore already know and have a relationship with the majority of the students. It is important to ensure the bond remains intact while also ensuring the new students connect with the paraprofessional as well. To develop a positive relationship with teacher aides, the teachers need to ensure they have set clear expectations as well as provide the teacher aide with all the correct resources and learning sequences prior to the lesson commencing. Sandy Plains is a small community and therefore the relationships with all stakeholders need to remain positive. The resources used within the lessons are simple and easily accessible within the school and classroom. Whiteboards and pens are a staple in most classrooms and can be adapted to paper if needed. Activity sheets can be printed off and the flexible seating could lead to students being able to sit either in their area in the classroom or even outside. The chosen texts, Koala Loo and Possum Magic, are both Australian texts written by Australian authors to allow students to find a personal connection. ICT is embedded within the lessons as the interactive smartboard is being utilised to engage students in activities that will deepen their knowledge. Teaching in a multi-age classroom can be challenging and therefore requires certain personal and professional attributes. Teachers need to be resilient when teaching in rural contexts, as well as be willing to establish positive relationships with all members of the community. They need to understand that whilst there may not be as many resources or student support, there is constant community engagement to assist when needed. Teachers will be able to be a part of a community that has a strong culture and history, as well as teach in a small school and develop strong relationships with staff and students. Teachers need to be able to be flexible and plan for the unexpected. They should be aware of all policies and documents in place to assist them, such as the Action Plan for Rural and Remote Education, support for teachers in rural and remote locations, and the New South Wales Rural and Remote Education Blueprint. These documents can assist teachers in understanding the expectations and where to go for more information. These lesson plans can directly link to certain ATSL APST standards. For example, Standard 1.1, 1.2 and 1.5 has been demonstrated when planning for differentiation throughout the lessons. Knowing the students, their likes and their learning needs assisted in the development of the lesson plans and allowed accurate adjustments to be made. Standard 2.1 and 2.2 applies as the teaching strategies have been chosen for the multi-age class and the content selection is appropriate for all year levels. Standard 3.1, 2, 3 and 4 are all applied within the lessons as learning goals were established and shared with the class at the beginning of each lesson. The lessons were structured and sequenced appropriately, and teaching strategies and resources were all implemented within the lesson. Other standards incorporated within the lesson include 4.1, 4.2 and 7.1. This presentation highlighted and analysed the ideas and decisions made when planning 3 English lessons for a Prep to 2 classroom in a rural context. Thank you.